तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। हरि ओम तत्सत्। This verse that I have sung just now is one of the Shanti Pathas or peace chants of the Upanishad. It has a profound meaning. Let the Supreme Being protect us together, students and teachers. Let that Supreme Being nourish us together. Let us achieve strength and energy through this education. Let us become illumined through this education. Let us not hate each other, but only love each other. Om peace, peace, peace. Last time we studied the two verses, opening verses of this 9th chapter. There, one particular expression was used by Krishna, that this philosophy is pratyakshaavagamam, can be lived and experienced in day-to-day life, in every aspect of life. We may be working in the factory, in the offices, at home as a housewife, whatever be our occupation, we can practice this philosophy. Try to realize in the context of life and work our own essential divine nature. This is the stress in the Gita, pratyakshaavagamam. To realize in day-to-day experience. I remember giving a talk in the parlor of a friend's house in Calcutta some years ago. I chose the subject, ecstasy in daily life. That subject was based upon the philosophy of this chapter, that when we have love of God, knowing Him to be our own inner self, nearest to the near, that experience makes one full of joy. And all the work we do in the light of that joy, I have the Supreme Divine within me. I am slightly in communion with that Divine. That feeling makes us feel a little intoxicated. All ecstasy is spiritual intoxication. Just like wine intoxication makes you feel light, you are not feeling the power of gravitation on you. Similarly, spiritual ecstasy, even a little, makes us feel free from the gravitational pull. You pass through life in a smooth, natural way. You do all the actions, all your duties with a smile, with a joy. Now this is something that can be experienced by people. It is not a theory. The housewife can from morning till night work hard, deal with all the household problems, but with a smile, with a sense of joy. That is the spiritual experience. Actually, in the midst of work, That is the sense of joy. In Western religious history, you get the story of Brother Lawrence in France, how a mere ex-soldier becoming a cook in a Christian Catholic monastery realized the presence of God every time, felt the joy of the divine, and he said, times of prayer and times of work do not make any difference to me. When many are calling in the kitchen for dishes, at the same time I possess the divine within me as fully as if I was on my knees at the Blessed Sacrament. Now, this kind of experience has been felt by several devotees all over the world. There you have the inner side of religion, how religion enriches the human being. So, the expression Pratyaksha must be understood as it is given in the context of the Gita philosophy here. Yoga, action, endeavor, and yet we touch the divine in and through action. That is a philosophy that is being expounded throughout the Gita. It gets an added stimulus in this chapter through love of God, love of the divine within ourselves. God here is not far away. You can commune with the divine because he is the self of yourself. Therefore, this is something that can be experienced. And so, the Upanishad, the Gita continues from verse 3, which we shall take up today. Krishna says, Ashraddhana Purusha Dharmasyasya Parantapa Aprapimam Nivartante Mrityu Samsara Vartmani. If a person has no faith in this philosophy, in this dharma, he becomes a body-centered individual. Only the sensory system exists for him and not what lies above that level. So without this faith, Ashraddhana, bereft of this faith in higher values, only in material values, sensory values, what I can feel and touch and see, that alone I accept. Such people, Ashraddhana Purusha, Dharmasyasya Parantapa. In this philosophy, which is scientific, because it is experiential, it can be tested in daily life. I have no faith in it. If anybody were to say that person becomes bereft of faith in the higher values, then what happens to him? Aprapyamam nivartante. He will never reach me, the inner self of all. Krishna says as the incarnation, Aprapyamam nivartante. He returns again and again to Mrityu Samsara Vartmani, into this world of relativity, this world of unfreedom, filled with change, filled with death. The world of death is the world of change, and he remains only in that. Again and again, he doesn't progress further. A worldly life full of inner tensions, full of outer desires, struggling, and one day dying away without seeing any distant horizon. That kind of a static worldly life comes to a person. Worldly life itself is never condemned in any of these books. But when you get stuck up there, that stagnation is condemned. There is something higher still. There is something higher still. Human evolution must go beyond the organic limitation into something higher. As I said last week, it is psychosocial evolution. That evolution also must continue at the human level. If not, there is stagnation. and stagnation is as good as death. All expansion is life, all contraction is death, Vivekananda said. So far as human being is concerned, stagnation at the sensory level is his spiritual death. That's what he means here. Aprapimam nivartante mrityu samsara vartmani. Samsara, the world which changes, is called samsara. Through saru, to move in Sanskrit, constantly moving, never stable, never steady, and we are in that. We are also changing all the time. We do not know the changeless, the eternal, the ever pure reality that is with it. So we are constantly caught up in this world of change. We become a creature shaped by forces around us, and that is called Mrityu Samsara Vatmani. The next sloka says, sloka 4, Maya tatamidam sarvam jagad avyaktamurtina matthani sarvabhutani nachahante shavastitaha. Krishna says, identifying himself as a divine incarnation who has assumed a human form, but essentially he is that infinite divine. So from that point of view, he says, Maya tatam idam sarvam. This manifested universe is entirely pervaded by me alone, because it comes from me. Therefore, I pervade it everywhere. Idam is a technical term meaning this objective manifested universe. Where from has it come? It has come from Brahman, that infinite pure consciousness, and I am that. I have realized I am the expression of that, incarnation of that. So I pervade everything. Maya tatam idam sarvam. What is my nature? Avyaktamurtina. I am of a form which is not perceptible, which is subtle, which is unmanifest. Outwardly you cannot see me as present in everything here, but I am there in every bit of this universe. This Jagat, which is constantly changing, that's the meaning of the word Jagat. In this Jagat, I am present everywhere. Every nook and corner, my presence is there, but you cannot detect it. It is so subtle. Gross things you can detect, but subtle things you cannot detect. In any piece of matter, you can detect the gross nature of matter by touch and sight. But the particle of energy within, we cannot detect. We have to take a lot of effort through laboratory techniques to find out the presence of those subtle particles that are there. So also in all aspects of human life, in all aspects of the cosmos, the presence of the cause in the effect is not easy to detect. It is so subtle. Avyaktamurtina. From Brahman, the universe has come. But I am not able to see Brahman anywhere here. I see only the changeable, perishable universe. I cut open my body, I do not find the self. I investigate from various psychological points of view, I do not find this perfectly true, because it is Avyaktamurti. The divine is hidden, is unmanifest in these things of the world. But he is there everything. Just like as I said previously, solar radiation is present in everything in the solar system. But you can't take out solar radiation from a stone, from a wood, from a rock. You can't take out solar radiation, but it is there everywhere. But it is unmanifest. So, Avyaktamurtina, in the universe I exist as an unmanifested form. Avyaktamurti, Matthani Sarvabhutani. All beings exist in me. That is the language. Matthani sarvabhutani. Nachaham te svavastitah. But I am not caught in any one of them. I am not confined to any one of them. All of them are in me, but I am not in any one of them. So, nachaham te svavastitah. It's a very fine idea. Space is in a pot. Space is in a room. Space is in a hall. But space is never caught up in any one of them. Space itself is everywhere. Nothing can limit it. It is undivided, as if divided by walls here and there. Similarly, the Atman is of that nature. Matsthani sarvabhutani nachaham teshu avastitah. I am not caught in any one of them. I am not present exclusively in any one of them. That is the second idea. First, all are in me, but I am not in them in that exclusive sense, because I am not divided into various things. Things are divided from each other, but I exist in them in an undivided form. That will be told later on in a later chapter, that I am the undivided reality in things apparently divided. Just like space is an undivided reality in things apparently divided. So, matsthani sarvabhutani nachaham teshu avastitah. And the next verse goes one step further, even denies what was said in verse 4. So verse 5 says, Najamasthani bhutani pashyame yogamaishwaram bhodabhrit nacha bhutastho mamatma bhotabhavana. See my wonder that I am not even in things. Najamasthani bhutani. Nothing is in me. Na cha bhutani masthani. All these beings are not really in me. Nachamasthani bhutani. Earlier he said, all beings are in me. Now he says, no. Really speaking, all beings are not in me. Nachamasthani bhutani. And so he says, pashyame yogam. See my wonderful yoga. Aishwaram, divine power. To make the many appear, though I am always one. That is the yoga of the divine. How the one appears as the many. It is still the one, yet you see the many. This is something, we call it divine yoga. The divine capacity to produce the many out of the one, and yet the one remains. As Shelley's famous poem, British poet, the one remains, the many change and pass. Earth's shadows fly, heaven's light forever remains. Life like a dome of many-colored glass stains the white radiance of eternity until death crumbles into fragments. Nachamasthani bhutani. They are not really in me. Pashyame yogamaishwaram. Wonderful power of mind, divine power. Look at it, see what a wonderful setting it is. What is the nature of that? Bhotabhrit, nacha bhutastho. They support all beings and supporting them. Myself does not dwell in them. Bhotabhrit, nacha bhutastho. Mamatma bhotabhavanaha. Bhotabhavanaha. I support all beings. I bring forth all beings, and yet I am not in them. I do not dwell in them. This is the wonderful subject of Maya. Yes and no at the same time. You can say this, you can say that. And therefore, we see this problem arising in all our pursuit of knowledge, even in the physical world. For example, at this very moment, the chair on which I sit is nothing but number of energy particles moving about at great speeds all the time. That is the truth about it. And yet it is a chair. I am sitting on it. This kind of contradiction comes wherever you have the problem of one and the many. The one is the truth, but the many also is there. How to explain it? There is no explanation. It is a fact of experience, but it is not a truth. When you investigate the fact, the truth comes out. Everything is Brahman. Everything is that ultimate reality. And so, nachamatthani bhutani paschame yogam aishwaram bhodaprat nacha bhutastho. I sustain beings, but I am not in them. Mama Atma, myself, Bhoda Bhavana, is that which supports all beings. This kind of a paradoxical situation you get in this great subject, how the one appears as the many. The many is a fact. That's why yesterday, last week I said, it is Satyam, it is truth, and this is the truth of the truth. Satyasya Satyam. In physical science, we do not speak of one as false and another theory as true. The first theory also was true. According to the data available then, it was true. And now another truth has come, much wider in scope. Just like we say, quantum and relativity physics doesn't abolish Newtonian physics. Newtonian physics is treated as a limiting case of quantum and relativity physics. Similarly, in philosophical discussion in Vedanta, we speak of the one as the absolute reality. And the many also is there. And that many is a limiting case of the one. And in spite of the many, the one is still there. Because both are one and the same. There is no two. There are no two. There is only one. Ekameva, Advitiyam, Brahma. The totality of the universe is, including its physical and non-physical realities, is just one primordial reality behind the universe. And the universe itself is that same reality in various names and forms appearing. And yet it is the same Brahman. It is not something else. The world is Brahman, is the last word of Vedanta. Therefore, he said, Nachaham te savastitaha. I am not in them. Bhodabhat, naja bhotastho, amatma bhota bhavanaha. The concept of this Avyakta Murti as well as Aishtaram Yogam. This, I am in every one of them but hidden somewhere. Avyakta Murti. Really I am not in them because it is all myself only. There is no two things here. A is on B. A is in B. So A and B are different. Here A is in A. A is within A itself. So this kind of unity behind the diversity is the truth, and the diversity is only the same one from a different angle. We call it from the practical sensory point of view. We see these differences. When you go beyond the sensory level, you see nothing but one infinite Atman, infinite Brahman. Bhodabhat naja bhodastho, mamatma bhoda bhavanaha. Then an example is given in the next verse, verse 6. Yatha akasha sthito nityam vayu sarvatrago mahan. Just like air is there in space, everywhere, up to several miles up in the sky, it is there in varying degrees of density. All over, everywhere it is there. So the space contains air. Yatha akasha sthito nityam, always it is there. Vayuhu, sarvatra go, present everywhere. Mahan, vast expanse of space that is there. That is the nature of space. This vast expanse of air is contained in the vast expanse of space. Yatha akashasthito nityam vayu sarvatrago mahan. Nityam, always it is there. There is no use of saying at present it is not there, some other time it is not there, etc. It is always there. Similarly, sarvani bhutani matsani iti upadharaya. Upadharaya, please understand that all beings are in me. Matsani bhutani. I am like space containing all these beings, like space containing air. Similarly, all these beings are in me. The example is space with respect to air, I with respect to all the beings that are there. Yatatha sarvani bhutani matsthani iti upadharaya. In these subtle realms of thought, paradoxical statements come again and again. Just like when Newtonian physics developed into quantum physics, paradoxical statements began to appear because you are going to the subtler dimensions of nature. There all these logical formulae do not function. You cannot have what you call the law of contradiction in logic applied there. Both can be true. That kind of situations come. And when you reach the Atman, it becomes more infinite. So many paradoxical statements will come. Tatha sarvani bhutani matsthani iti upadharaya. Try to understand. They are all in me. Nothing outside of me. Because I am the origin, sustenance of the whole universe. Next verse says, Sarvabhutani kaunteya pragatim yanti mamikam kalpakshaye punastani kalpadau visrjanyaham. What is the relationship between me and this universe? Krishna is asking and giving the answer. Krishna is standing for that ultimate reality, that Brahman of the nature of infinite pure consciousness. Sarvabhutani kaunteya pragatim yanti mamikam kalpakshaye. Kalpa is the word for the time span of Brahma's one day. One day of Brahma is a kalpa. That comes a few million years. That is a kalpa. At the end of a kalpa, the whole world is absorbed into me. That's the idea. The universe ceases to exist. This solution takes place. Kalpakshaye sarvani bhutani mam yanti. Mamikam yanti. At the end of a kalpa, all beings are resolved back into their original state. That is myself. They all came from me. That's why Nirantara creation is not something coming out of nothing or something coming from something else. Everything comes from the one. And the example given is like the web coming out of a spider. Without any effort, naturally, the spider brings out the web and then stays in it, lives in it. So the Brahman projects this universe and lives in it as its very self, as its very soul. So this is the manifestation time. Then at the end of that manifestation period, the resolving back comes again. Expansion followed by contraction. They all are absorbed back into me. Sarvabhutani kaunteya pragatim yanti mamikam. My prakriti, they attain at the end of a kalpa. My nature, they become myself. All come back into myself. Kalpakshaye. And then punastani kalpadavo visrajamyaham. At the beginning of a new kalpa, I project them once again out as the universe. So the universe has two aspects. expansion and contraction. In this way it goes on, a pulse of expansion, a pulse of contraction. The whole thing is gone back into the original. In these matters, there is so much of unanimity between modern astrophysics and Vedanta. In details, there may be differences, there may be more of clarity in today's astronomical approach. Punastani kalpadau visrujamyaham. And then he says, Prakritim swam avashtabhya visrujami punah punaha. Bhotagramam imam krishnam avasham prakritir vashat. He says, this wonderful universe, I protect it again and again, and I withdraw it back into me again and again. That background material of modern astronomy projects this universe after the Big Bang, and then the universe returns back to that same point, absolutely a dense piece of material. And for some time it remains like this, again another Big Bang. This goes on. So we speak of it not through that Big Bang concept, but the thought in that Brahman, which is consciousness itself, a thought of expansion. Very thought is expansion. Thought and action are the same so far as consciousness is concerned. Prakritim swam avashtabhya. Depending upon my own prakriti, my own nature, visrujami punah punaha. I project forth the universe again and again. That is language. Bhutagramam imam sarvam. The entire range of beings, of cosmos, of stars, starry systems, galaxies, all of them, I bring them forth. Bhutagramam imam krishnam. Prakritir vashat. They are all subject to that prakriti, that nature. They have no freedom. And so they are called avasham, without any freedom. They are helpless in the matter. All the cosmic entities follow the law of what the supreme original reality has given to them. Their movements, their behavior are all fixed. They have no freedom. So also in organic evolutionary level, also nature controls them in various ways. This is the actual state of the universe. Avasham is the word used here. Vasham means control. Avasham means no control. Things in the world have no control over themselves. They are controlled by Prakriti, nature. The difference between modern physical science concept of nature and Vedantic concept of nature is, this nature is purely physical, materialistic nature. But in Vedanta, it is divine nature manifesting itself in these various forms. They are all under the control of that divine nature as manifested in the universe. And as manifested in a human being, there is the same divine nature of a different higher dimension. There are two dimensions of nature according to Vedanta. One is called Aparaprakriti. The other is called Paraprakriti. In this 8th chapter itself, this has been said, 7th chapter also, there are two Prakritis. Ordinary physical Prakriti, inert nature. The other is higher nature, of the nature of consciousness. That's what you find slowly emerging from the beginning of organic evolution in the living cell. It becomes much more manifest and evident when evolution rises the human level. So the human being, there is that higher nature, the real human nature, present there with a bit of freedom. That freedom, real human nature, present there with a bit of freedom. That freedom is not there in the physical nature. Throughout the cosmos, everything is controlled by this physical nature, cosmic nature. But when it comes to man, a certain control comes into his hands. And that control can be increased and developed, and that is the great goal of human life, how to become free. Why should I remain a creature? Everything else is a creature. But even at the level of a living self, there is some freedom. The very fact of consciousness coming into matter, becoming manifest in matter, makes for a certain freedom. That's why if any kind of hostile material is put in the environment of a living system, it knows how to avoid it. It knows how to protect itself. That little freedom is the evidence of a new type of nature becoming manifest. If a stone is put on a rail track, the rail track will come and crush it and go away. But if a small insect is put on the rail track, that rail track taking will tell the insect some danger is ahead of you, and the insect quietly moves aside and saves itself. In this little action, we can see a new datum present. That datum is called freedom. That freedom comes from the higher nature of consciousness becoming manifest. Whereas in the rock, in that piece of stone, there was no such possibility. So this becomes a very great datum when evolution rises to the human level. Man can be independent of the environment. Man can control the environment. No other species can do so. So that is the uniqueness of man, and therefore this avasham principle, helpless, applies up to man, and beyond, man can change that situation. We can take our destiny into our hands to a large extent. Ordinary human beings are just like any other animal as a creature. You need not remain a creature, says Vedanta. We are creatures of nature, but we did not remain so, says Vedanta. We can be free. We can be free. We have the organic capacity to take our evolution in our own hands and then achieve that freedom, that fulfillment. That is the glory of this finest fruit of evolution, namely the human being. So avasham becomes changed in the case of the human being who has become conscious of this higher nature hidden within oneself. That is the beginning of the spiritual march of the human being, getting away from the control of the material or physical universe. That is the most glorious part of evolution. So that word avasham, avasham means helpless. We have no way, we have no say in the matter. Just nature says do this, I do. Nature says don't do it, I don't do. Nature says laugh, I laugh. Nature says cry, I cry. That's normal life here. That's called avasham. And now I can say no to nature. I shall not cry. I shall not laugh as you dictate. I shall choose my own time for it. In this way, the human being has the capacity to defy nature, because another dimension of nature is within the human being. We don't call it supernatural. We call it nature, but of a higher dimension. There are two dimensions of nature, as I said. One is called ordinary nature, lower nature, apara nature, what you call the physical universe. The other is para, prakriti, nature of the higher dimension, which can exercise more freedom. So avasham applies only to the ordinary nature. When the higher nature begins to manifest, you get rid of that avasham condition. Avasham makes you a creature, whereas the higher nature makes you a free being. Fulfillment comes to you. That is why the goal of religion, as understood in Vedanta, is to transform creatureliness to blessedness, creatureliness to freedom. Every one of us is a creature, but we did not remain so. He can be free. In fact, every effort to achieve civilization is a defiance of that concept of creatureliness. He can build a house. Why should I remain in the cold outside all the time? Even there you find you are going against that idea of creatureliness, that avasham situation. We take our life in our hands. So, as civilization and culture expresses human freedom, this higher evolution towards realizing our own divine nature consummates that struggle for freedom. That is why, in the Indian context, the four great ends of human life, aims of human life, are dharma, artha, kama, moksha. Sensory satisfaction, all these are included there. But the highest is moksha, freedom, absolute freedom from this creatureliness state. That is the beauty of this classification. The human being can become free. Today he is part free, part unfree. Let her take account of that higher nature within, exercise it, then he or she can be freed from thraldom to that lower nature and proclaim one's own total freedom, and that too not it is a faraway heaven, and some here itself in this very body. That is the profound message of Vedanta. Now we say, Nachamam tani karmani nibaddhanti dhananjaya udasinavadasinam asaktam teshu karmasu. This kind of activity I am engaged in. What wanted, not objective, because I am thoroughly unattached. Nachamam tani karmani nibaddhanti dhananjaya. Arjuna, these activities do not make for bondage for me, because udasinavat asinam. I am what you call not involved in that idea. Asaktam teshu karmas. I am unattached to all those actions. It is a spontaneous manifestation. There is no effort, there is no particular goal in front of me, no particular keen desire to propel me. It is just my simple, natural expression. So I am not at all attached to them. He says, neutral, udasinavad asinam. In fact, in the teaching of the Gita, human actions also must be of this nature, detachment. The little ego is attached to the world. Action from that ego point of view makes for bondage. If you detach from the ego, manifest your real nature, all the actions you do will not bind you at all. That is what we have said earlier in the second chapter and several other chapters as well. So here is that wonderful idea. Udasinavat asinam asaktam teshu karmasu. I am unattached to all these actions. Then comes the next verse. Maya adhyakshena prakriti suyate sacharajaram hetuna anena kaunteya jagat vitarivartate. When I say I create this world, I protect this world, let me make a clarification. Krishna says, I actually do not do. There is nature which is always in my own form. Maya prakriti, my nature. The word nature used in a comprehensive sense, both physical and spiritual, both apara nature and para nature, both. So, by my mere presence, nature does all this activity. Prakriti, suyate, sacharachara. This world of living and non-living beings, all are projected repeatedly by nature, by my mere presence. I did not actually act. Nature acts. I am only present. My presence makes for this kind of activity of nature. There are institutions where you can see a person is not doing, but the very presence makes for all the doing. Just like in our Indian constitution, everything is done in the name of the president. The president itself doesn't do anything. This kind of situation comes. So, Maya Adhyakshena, language is used. I am only the speaker in a parliament. Speaker doesn't do anything. Speaker doesn't speak as we say. So, Maya Adhyakshena, but my very presence makes for even functioning of the whole assembly. Suyate Sacharacharam, Hetuna Anena Kaunteya. Because of this, Arjuna, Jagat Viparivartate, this constant manifestation, transformation of things in the world goes on all the time, all the time. There is one primordial divine presence behind. Only a presence, that is all. That very presence is enough to make things move on even keel. So, the translation, English he says, by reason of my proximity, Prakriti produces all this, the moving and the unmoving. Prakriti means nature. The world wheels round and round because of this. Prakriti does it, but because Prakriti is inert, I am there. Because of my presence, Prakriti is able to do all these things. This is the Sankhyan point of view taken to Vedanta. In Sankhya, nature is active, Purusha is inactive, the spirit is inactive, matter is active. But the matter cannot act without the presence of the Purusha or the spirit. That theory taken into Vedanta, that Brahman, the infinite consciousness, is impersonal. But there is called the power of Brahman, the Shakti, that is personal, that is Saguna, that does all the work. And Brahman and Shakti are non-different. They are one and the same. They are not two realities. Ramakrishna compares them to a serpent coiled up is Brahman. A serpent in motion is called Prakriti or Shakti. Both are one and the same. And so, Hetuna Anena Kaunteya Jagat Vyaparivartate. Prakriti is of Brahman. Brahman is of Prakriti. Brahman and Shakti are non-different. The Shakti aspect of Brahman is what makes for this wonderful projection and maintenance of this universe and taking all of them back into that unity in the final stage. So he said. So next sloka says, Avajananti mam mudha manushim tanumashritam param bhava majananto mama bhota maheshwaram. In the fourth chapter, we have studied how God incarnates himself again and again to restore the spirituality of society. That was discussed in the fourth chapter. This pure consciousness, which is Brahman, occasionally comes into the world as an incarnation, an extraordinary personality. He is there in every human being as a spark of the divine, but sometimes a very specialized divine personality also appears. One quality of that personality is enormous spiritual energy hidden within, externally quite ordinary, inwardly extraordinary. That person is able to set in motion a tremendous current of spirituality that reshapes history for centuries together. We have seen it in the case of Krishna, Buddha, Jesus. Today we are seeing it in Sri Ramakrishna. Tremendous energy manifested in them. We call them incarnation. They are not like usually great people. They are not the usual type of heroes. They can produce thousands of heroes. One incarnation can feed the intellect of hundreds of writers, hundreds of artists, hundreds of political thinkers. That's the nature of an incarnation. And as days go on, their dimension of personality expands more and more. Unknown in their lifetime, becoming more and more known as they pass away. That is what makes their greatness unique. India calls them a divine manifestation, avatar. But Sri Krishna says, as he said in the fourth chapter, people do not understand an avatar. He looks quite ordinary. How can I know that there is such a divine personality in them? That is expressed in verse 11. Avajananti mam mudha. Mudha means foolish people, unthinking people. They disparage me, not knowing my higher nature. Manushim tanumashritam. They see only my human form, my human body. Just like any other human body, they can't see param bhavam ajananto, my higher nature, my higher form. They cannot perceive. And so they talk ill of me. They don't recognize my dimension and they disparage me. Unaware of my higher nature, as the great Lord of all beings, fools disregard me, dwelling in the human form. This is a constant occurrence. We often mistake a person by seeing only the external and not the internal. Even in normal life, the external may be ordinary, internal may be extraordinary. How many times we commit the blunder of being carried away by a very flashy external, and internal there is nothing at all. There is no greatness at all. On the other side, you find external very ordinary, but some tremendous internal dimension is there. I myself have seen very ordinary looking person, but tremendous scholar, 2-3 languages, the master, but he looks very ordinary. So, it is no wonder that when God incarnates as a human being, most people cannot recognize that divine dimension behind that human facade. That's what he means here. Avajananti mam mudha, manushim tanumashritam, param bhavam ajananto, not knowing my param bhavam, supreme form, higher form. Mama Bhota Maheshwaram, that same divine, the Lord of all, has now become Jesus, he giving high tribute to Jesus when he was a prisoner in the St. Helena, in the island there. There he spoke to his companions. Only two powers there are in the world, the spirit and the soul. And the spirit has always vanquished the soul. These are all Napoleon's expressions. The spirit has always vanquished the soul. He himself was a master of the soul, but he understood this truth when he had time to think about this when he was a prisoner in St. Helena. And he said, Julius Caesar, Alexander, Charlemagne, and myself, we all founded great empires. On what? On the soul. But all of them have been destroyed. Jesus founded an empire on the spirit. That alone lives. Now this kind of admission from a great master wielder of the sword is the greatest positive truth that is being expressed here. That spiritual greatness is silent and quiet, but it is tremendous. An incarnation is the center of tremendous energy. It goes on radiating slowly round the world. That is the truth of history. So an incarnation is not only come to bless a few people, but to bless thousands and thousands of people. Ramakrishna calls them a big ship in which thousands can cross the ocean, unlike little boats where ordinary greatness prevails. So finally, in the next sloka he says, Moghasha, Moghakarmano, Moghajnana, Vichetasaha, Rakshasi Masarim Cheva, Pragatim, Mohinim Sutaha. Such people who are small-minded cannot understand the greatness that is inside a person. Such people are called Moghasha, of vain hopes, Mogha Karmano, of vain action, Mogha Jnana, of vain knowledge, Vichetasaha, senseless. They are possessed of the delusive nature, Rakshasim Asirim Cheva, Pragatim, Mohinim Sutaha. Mohini means delusive. Moha means delusion. Coming from Rakshasi Masuri nature, demonic nature, demoniac nature. Because of that, they are not able to see things clearly. Therefore, they verily are possessed of the delusive nature of Rakshasas and Asuras and of vain hopes, of vain works. That's the extreme type. Therefore, we can see an extreme type is divine incarnation. The other side is extreme type of this vain hopes and vain works, vain knowledge, senseless and deluded by Asuric, Rakshasi nature. In a later chapter, Krishna will discuss the Daivi nature, Asuri nature. Every human being can either have Asuri nature or Daivi nature, one taking downwards, one taking upwards. That detailed description will be given in a later chapter. Here we end for today. The verse 12 we have taken, and next Sunday we shall take up verse 13 onwards. We shall spend a few minutes in silence and meditation and then disperse.